couple of years ago, I had a bill that I introduced that would require a minimum of 72 hours for this body to be able to review it in print before making a decision. Now, we do all kinds of transparency laws and disclosure for local government that somehow we can't apply to ourselves here in the state capitol. Well, the bill typically, as others like it, met its fate somewhere in rules. There's evidently a little black hole of the universe there where things just sort of disappear and die quietly. But nevertheless, we all have, well, maybe not all of us have experienced that. We on this side of the aisle have experienced that. But how this plays out, let me give an example of that. Last year, according to the timestamp, AB 114 finished Ledge Council at 8:35 p.m., passed out of the Senate less than 2 hours later, 10:33 p.m., June 28th. You remember it. It was called Education-Related Statutory Revisions in the Majority Floor Analysis. Here's what the LA Times said about it. Ham-fisted yet pandering and fiscally irresponsible too. AB 114 perpetrates an abuse of state power that could wreak budgetary havoc in local school districts. But in that case, why hasn't the news been filled with details of this bad government bill as it wended its way through the legislature? Because it was hurriedly and secretively passed, quite literally in the dark of night, with no committee hearings and almost no public notice, and then quickly signed by Governor Jerry Brown. Just this Sunday, a member of this body had an editorial in a local paper, that op-ed that criticized a part of the 2009 budget deal that dealt with a corporate tax policy item because, quote, that vote was done at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. The measure was not in print, nor did it ever have a single committee hearing. And that's the problem. Both of these examples move through this body just like these are as spot bills. Now, we've changed the rules of engagement. The voters have. They've said that the legislature can now do majority vote budgets. We had our first one last year, business as usual. So as we move spot bills through, understand that we and the Republican side will have two votes on this. Today, where we say, no, we won't move the spot bill. And then when it comes back to us with language you've never seen, and we will be saying, no, we don't like this either. I urge a no vote on these spot bills. We've heard last week, we've heard today that all the hearings that are taking place, one of my colleagues rightfully stated why that's different now than in the past, because at least somewhere Republicans had an input in it. But just because we have a lot of motion, let's not equate that to action. And just because we have action by holding hearings, let's not equate that to results or doing anything. Where are the votes? Where are the decisions that have resulted? Because that's what we're dialoguing about. We're dialoguing about the fact that as Republicans, we have been frozen out of the process. There is no Big Five. That was the last vestige of Republicans having any input. So you ask us to go and sit in hearings where we can hear what we know already. We're spending too much money. We need to cut our level of government to make it lean and efficient. We need to grow jobs. Those are the answers to this, and yet you're going to put your solution out the next time we see this. It will be a sham budget put together in the dark of night, passed without any Republican input. It doesn't matter how many hearings you hold, you are accomplishing nothing. And it goes back to the quote, sound and fury, signifying nothing. Let's have a real budget with real discussion, real votes.